Hi guys, welcome. This is Corey from the Bass College. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about jigs and the different conditions throughout the year and how you should trim your jigs to those conditions. As you see down here, I have a couple different jigs. The jigs I primarily use: an 1/8 ounce jig, a 3/4 ounce jig, a 1/2 ounce jig, and a 1 ounce jig. In colder water, you want a little bit of a smaller profile because those fish in the colder water aren't as active. So what I do in the colder water is I take an 1/8 ounce jig and I'll take it and I'll put my hand all the way to the hook. As you can see, the hook's right there, and I'll bring the skirt all the way up. So what I'll do is I'll cut all those frills off on the skirt and get them all pretty even with the hook. So what that does is it creates a smaller profile in the water. So when that's in the water, and say you're flipping it up underneath of a dock, or you're throwing it at a dock, or you're throwing it anywhere you pretty much will want to throw a jig, that will create a smaller profile and it'll make a puff. It'll puff up. I call it the puff jig because it's smaller and more compact, and it'll make the fish want to bite it a little bit more. So when the water's warming up a little bit, I'll change to a 3/8 ounce jig, especially if I'm flipping docks. Flipping docks in the summertime is huge anywhere you go throughout the country. What you want to do then is you'll want to do sort of similar the same, but you'll want to trim it just a little bit more. You'll want to leave about maybe a centimeter more so it creates more of a puff. It's a bigger profile bait. The fish will eat it a little bit better in the summertime because they're not as afraid, not as skittish. They want something to eat. Say now you're going to the wood. Alright, the wood, fish in the wood don't really pay attention as much, I think, to size as they do a reaction bite. When a jig goes into the wood, you say you're flipping or pitching a jig into the wood, it hits the water, it goes down. The fish aren't gonna really pay attention to it, they're more going to react to it. So I don't even really trim the jig if it's out of the package if I'm flipping wood, unless it's not straight. I always like for my skirts to be straight in some way. I don't like them to be bunched up or longer strands than the other. It's just not, it doesn't flow right in my book. It doesn't feel right. And then you got the 1 ounce jig, and I throw this a lot. The 1 ounce jig is huge. I throw different types. I have medlocks, dandy jigs, booyah jigs, any kind that you want. The 1 ounce jig is huge, especially if you're pitching grass situations. And with the 1 ounce jig, I've always noticed that you want to do the same thing that you're doing with the 1/8 ounce jig. Now, I do that for one reason. The reason is you're always going to have a bigger trailer on the back. 90% of the time you're going to have a bigger trailer on the back of your jig. And that's going to allow for more of a flash anyways. Second, the 1 ounce jig is a reaction strike. Always going to be a reaction strike unless you're yo-yoing it. But 90% of the time those fish will hit on the fall. So what you want to do is you'll always want to trim that up pretty close to the hook, and you'll always want to just put a big crawfish on the back. So that's how I pretty much fish my jigs. That's how I trim my jigs. We'll come back to another session of over here on the Bass College soon. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.